Like a lot of leaders, they feel lonely. Like it's lonely at the top because a lot of them, they really feel like no one understands them. And the reason is very simple. It's because most people are not striving for greatness. They're not striving to be leaders in their industry and life, whatever. So a lot of leaders, and this is something which I deal with all the time, they had a stage in their life where they just soared, where they were so driven and excited and in love with it. And then they basically found themselves like as a leader, like they found themselves as someone who was successful, quote unquote. And then a couple things happened. Number one, they stopped growing. And it's very simple. It's because when you're nobody, you fail all the time because all you're doing is growing. So you know nothing, you don't have any skills, no one looks up to you, no one kind of knows who you are. You just kind of live in your own little corner and do your thing. And you just, if you get motivated enough, you go all in. And whether it's music, whether it's art, whether it's business, whether it's Torah, you go all in. Then what happens after like a year, 5 years, 10 years, all of a sudden people know who you are. You're successful, you're a leader, you're a role model. What happens then? You're not growing anymore because a lot of leaders, they stay in the comfort zone of whatever they've accomplished, because if they fail now, people will say, oh my gosh, look at that. So they'll basically just use the same tricks all day, every day for years on end, and they basically stagnate. So they had this like stage of elevated growth where they were just in love with life. They were finally like, in touch with themselves. Everything was amazing. No one knew who they were. They weren't as successful in the public arena, but they felt, oh my gosh, like I know what I want to do with my life. And then they become a CEO, they become a leader of a school, an institution, they start to run a business, whatever it is. And now they just stay in their safety net where they basically just want to cruise. They want to maintain their leadership, want to maintain their identity, and they basically stagnate. And that's why, like in sports, the greatest athletes of all time, they never stopped elevating their game. Always got better. Like Michael Jordan is famous for saying that the reason why I'm better than everyone else is because everyone else wanted to be like Mike, and I just wanted to be better than who I was yesterday. And it takes so much courage as someone in the public arena to be willing to fail. That's why, there's a great line. Carl Jung was famous for saying that the greats have to be willing to be fools even after they've achieved some success. And that's like Avram Avinu. Like Avram was, not a young person, but to go on this journey into the unknown, to be willing to fail once you've you're not like a 20-year-old kid. That's incredibly courageous. And if you fall in love with actualizing your potential and making an impact and actually fulfilling who you're supposed to become, you don't worry about what other people think about you. And you also don't worry about failure. You embrace it. If you're just worried about being good enough for other people, you want to get respect, recognition, all you're going to do, it's like an entire game of acting where your entire life is structured off of public consensus. So you basically are living reactively, and you do what is safe and you never mess up. And essentially, you hate yourself. You won't admit it, but you stop giving yourself permission to really fulfill your potential. So a lot of the time, what I'll do with leaders is, first of all, a lot of them are lonely. Like they don't really have permission to share their vulnerabilities with people because they don't want anyone to know that they're still human, that they're they're not perfect. But also to really reignite that spark, to get them to say, like, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, yes, I've achieved success, but this is not life. Like, I feel like I'm just suffocating in my own bubble.
Right.
And
like they've hit a
I'll
wall.
I'll give an example, like on LinkedIn, like a lot of leaders, they really struggle to post on LinkedIn. And they'll tell me this. And why? Because what if a post doesn't go well? Like all of a sudden, everyone thought they were so successful and everyone loves them. And then they'll post something and no one cares. And like, oh my gosh, you're exposed, you phony, right? So they're like, so it's like the best advice I give for people on LinkedIn is just stop caring. Stop, because that's how you build momentum. It's how you essentially start to make an impact. Is if you care about if you measure everything you do, it'll drive you crazy. Because like you are living this suffocated life of public approval. But if you stop worrying about public approval and you start worrying about really pushing the pedal to the metal internally, it's like, first of all, you enjoy, like it gets back to the first question you asked. Then you start enjoying it. So many people, they don't enjoy it. They stop enjoying it